This is Susan Wilbanks with blendedinsight.com. I am a holistic and integrative healing arts practitioner, an intuitive, and an energy healer. In this podcast, I share tips, tools, and suggestions that have helped me along my path in hopes of inspiring and helping you along yours. Let's get started with today's podcast topic. Hello, bright and beautiful souls. Thank you for joining me on another podcast. And I just want to go right into the topic for today because this has been coming up a lot in my meditation practices and in the time that I spend with Spirit, getting transmissions, and just being quiet, all the things that I've been talking to you about for the last at least month. And it's in response to the energy that is going on in the collective at this time. And most of you are probably well aware that there's a lot of fear-mongering out there in the world right now. And you're probably, if you're listening to this, you're probably not a person that watches mainstream or participates in most of the collective activity, but you could be presented with some of the fear-mongering by your loved ones or just by people in random passing in the public, just sharing with you things that are going on. And as a light worker, as a light being, it is our responsibility and our charge really to hold the light. And so one of the things that has been coming up for me in response to transmuting the fear is, okay, you know how some people will go down the rabbit hole of what if this happens? What if that happens? But it's in a fear-based place. The counter that I've been receiving is, what if it all works out? What if it all works out? We aren't in charge of the universe. We are only in charge of our response to things that are going on and our personal impact, actions, behaviors, and thoughts. Us personally. And when we raise our vibration and we radiate the beautiful light that we all are, and we recognize that and stay connected, we inadvertently influence those around us because that's the way it goes. We become like the people we spend the most time with, and we influence one another because honestly, we're all in this together. But I really believe that as you hold the light, you just remind other people of who they really are. Because in the end, what does everybody really want? To be safe, to be loved, to feel content and happy, feel like they're making a difference. At the core, that's who we are as light beings. And destructive thoughts have no power over you. They don't have any power over you. And you're connected to the infinity of your soul that goes on forever and the infinity of the universe. You are a drop in the ocean. So what I've been getting is hold the light and be compassionate and be present for those who are just in a loop of fear for whatever reason. And it may not present as fear. So a lot of times they're not, how can I say this? They aren't outright saying this is scary or this makes me feel afraid. Or maybe it's you. Maybe you're having those feelings. But understand that it's your charge really and your responsibility to go back in and self-soothe and say, wait a minute, am I in immediate danger right now in this moment? Or is this person in immediate danger? So if you've been given information, and I have, and that's one of the ways that I'm so grateful for my spiritual practice and just staying connected is that when Spirit gives you information, it doesn't scare you. I don't have fear. I'm not afraid. But sometimes information comes forward. It's difficult to understand. It's difficult to fathom. And it's not always pleasant. It's not always rainbows. We live in a 3D world with all different people from all different walks of life, all different agendas. Not everyone wants to love and care and take care of people. Not everyone wants to do that. We have people on the varying ends of the vibrational scale. So the thing is that knowing that I can take this information from a neutral place, whatever information it is, I'm talking about in general, because I'm not going to get specific because everyone is experiencing this at their own level. And I'm just sharing with you that if someone comes to you with something's coming or something's going to happen or whatever, and they've got that fear energy, learn to filter the information without the fear. So at the end of the day, what can you do to prepare yourself And I've been saying this all along, just prepare yourself, but don't participate in the fear. So if it resonates with you and it's coming spirit directed, which is so important to get grounded and get connected to your spiritual practice and the infinite of all there is, the creator, the universe, God, whatever you call it, your higher self, and prepare, do your part, concentrate on how you respond. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? What is it yours? Is this yours that you're feeling? Because sometimes as empathic people, we can absorb the energy of other people and realize, wait a minute, that's not even me. I don't behave that way. And use all the tools that you have in front of you. So that's what I've been doing. And so I'm not plugged into the mainstream. But when people present things to me, like, did you hear about this? And did you hear about that? I just stay present with them and shine my light and say, yeah, my focus and my energy is always going to be on the solution. So hear the information and then be open to the solution that's usually coming from a higher source. And so that's where my energy is always going to be. So if something is happening in the world and it doesn't feel good to me, I go within and say, is this something that I can prepare for? And how can I prepare for it? And then I'm just going to let it go. And I'm going to focus my energy on being loving, being present, and being connected to my higher self, the creator, doing my energy healing practices, doing my meditation practices, showing up at work, doing an exceptional job, to the best of my ability, taking care of myself physically, mentally, spiritually, and then helping those around me do the same. And that's all we can do. You aren't in charge of the entire universe. You're only in charge of your drop in the ocean, what you put in the ocean, how you influence yourself, others. You're responsible for the information that you choose to consume. And if other people are bringing it to you, then you're responsible for filtering it. Because what I have noticed is that when people are really fearful or agitated or frustrated, I can empathize and say, God, that is really frustrating. I get that. But how can we transmute this? Like, what's the solution here? Let's focus on the solution. How can we get better at this? And so you can shift it that way verbally, or you can just do it with your energy, because I just smile and I'm a loving presence. And I just think to myself, yeah, what if that happens? But also, what if it works out? I don't want to play the what if game in a negative sense. We've all done it at some point in our life. I'm sure we've all done it as part of the human condition. If you get rattled or you get in a place of fear, you can sometimes mentally scare yourself. And if you catch yourself doing that, just shift it. What if it all works out? What if this isn't mine to solve? What is my job today? My job is to wake up and go to work and let everyone in my inner circle know how much I love and appreciate them, and to make a healthy meal. And, and the list goes on and on and on. That's my job today. And I'm not talking about burying your head in the sand. And that's something that I don't do. But I can be informed and not afraid. And that's the difference. So I'm just encouraging you, and I hope that you're feeling what I'm transmitting as I'm speaking, is that some things are much bigger than us. And we are here to shine our light and to shift the energy of either it's our household, or it could be your whole city, or it could be the environment you work in, or it could be your family. But if you're listening to this and you're drawn to it, I don't believe that your purpose is to spread fear, because we are not normal collective consciousness people, in the sense of, if you're listening to this and you're drawn to this, then you are seeking a different path. You're seeking a higher path. You want a divine connection. You want to heal yourself. You want to heal others. And most of the collective isn't there yet. I pray that they will get there, but most of them are not there yet. And so take that as an inspiration. And that's kind of the way that I've been looking at it. And I know at times it can feel very saddening, I guess is the right word. Deflating. I think that would be the better word. It can feel deflating at times, because sometimes you feel a little bit alone because you don't participate in the collective and you don't want to watch mainstream and do all the mainstream stuff. I understand. This has been my life for the last, at least 16 years. And so I totally understand that. But this is a time where this work that you're doing is vitally important. It's always important It's especially important now because each side is ramping up. And I don't know if you've noticed that. So it's like the dark is trying to get darker. So the light needs to get lighter. And when people are in fear, they have lost their connection. Because if you know everything's going to be okay, there's no reason to be fearful. And I know we live in a 3D body and everyone experiences fear on some level. But when you have that strong knowingness and you have access to the tools that you and I have access to, you can quickly shift and say, oh, wait a minute. I've lost my connection. Let me get reconnected to my source that created me, that breathed life into this body. And in the end, it's going to be okay, because if I don't have this body, I'm going to go back to where I came from. And I know that means different things for different people. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to provide a little bit of what I've been experiencing, the deep solitude and peace that I've been experiencing in my meditation practices and my healings that I do. And it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Do what you can. That's what I'm doing what I can. When I get guidance about stuff, and sometimes it's icky stuff that's going on in the world, I'm like, ooh, do I really need to be prepared for this? And Spirit will say, get prepared. And then once I get prepared, I feel fine. And I'm like, okay, I'm prepared, and let me move on to something else. Let me focus my energy back on how can I serve, and what do I need to do in this moment, and what's my job today in this moment. Getting too far in the future sometimes can spark fear in people, and I just don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So that's all I really wanted to offer today, and I hope it helps. And let's go into a healing, and I'll just do a general healing to clean you and ground you, and we'll release any fear energy that perhaps is projected onto you. Most of it doesn't come from us. Most of it's from those around us, but there's a light in us. So people, they want that. Sometimes they don't know how to get it, so they just sort of throw it up on us, throw up their stuff that they don't know where to put. So you can just go ahead and uncross your arms and legs and focus on your breathing. I'm just running shields and closing the healing. Okay, and so it is. And the other thing that came to me when I was closing the healing is that my healing for a mass media detox might be really helpful. So I will link that in the show notes, because even if you're not tuning in intentionally, it's still around us in the collective. People do. And so, it's a good thing to clear that out of your aura and to reconnect you with your higher source. And so that's really all I have. And if you haven't left me a review on iTunes, I would so appreciate it. And thank you so very much for tuning in. I wish you a beautiful week. Take care. Bye-bye.